What is going on, everybody? My name is Jack. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing work on the 71 El Camino. You have to forgive my voice for the shaking. I'm driving the old school bus today. It's not a smooth ride. But yeah, this El Camino, it's got an engine swap, new rear axle, coil-over front suspension. Super cool project. We got a lot of cool stuff we're going to be doing that we're going to be filming for you guys. So please enjoy. Without further ado, let's get to the shop. We'll show you what we got going on. Alrighty everyone, here we are. Good old HP Performance. Gonna take a walk inside, see Bill. See Bill's here. Show you what we got going on. So here we go here, 71 El Camino. The last time we were working on this, got most of the engine torn down, ready to come out. This 350's coming out. All this front suspension, almost all entirely out. It's all sitting over there. Today, hoping to get this engine pulled, trans, the entire driveline, rear axle. If we have time, try to get this axle here staged up under it. You can see this is the new front suspension going in, and this 383 right here also going in. This thing also has a super dope mural on the underhood as well. We're not taking the hood off because it weighs much heavier than a stock hood, so we're gonna have to be really careful when we're pulling this motor out not to scratch this. And with that, I'll turn it over to Master Tech Bill. He's gonna tell us a little bit about himself and what we're doing here.
Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. We're just here playing and having fun. I've been wrenching on cars since I was 11 years old. I love doing this. It's a lot of fun. You got to stick with us and see what we do. There's days that we come in, we don't know if we're doing something different. You know, maybe somebody's got something they need adjusted, or maybe we got a new car in line that's coming in. You never know. So you got to stay tuned. You know, content and cars and stuff that we do. This one right now, we're taking the motor out, taking the trans out, taking the rear end out. It's an older gentleman's toy. He wants it to be more reliable, more efficient, and at the end of the day, he just wants to burn the tires off the back of it and have fun doing it. So stick with us and watch what we do and hang out with us and grow with us.
Alrighty. How are we going to start today? What's first order of business here?
Well, first thing today, we're going to start getting the motor mounts loose. So those are ready to take out, get the fuel line off, and then we got to take the starter out. Then we're going to unbolt the trans and get that ready to pull out with the drive shaft so we can get the forward half of the power line out. And then once we get that out and everything's, you know, safe and on the ground, then we're going to start working on the back half, taking the differential down, putting the new differential back in it.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Let's get to it. Alright, now we got the car in the air. You can see all this front suspension, almost all of it's torn out. Radiator gone, fan shroud, everything. All the accessories on the front are gone. It's almost ready to go. Exhaust disconnected, headers are off.
Alright, now we're back underneath it. We got to get the trans dipstick tube out of the trans, and we don't want to pour trans fluid everywhere. So we're going to unbolt what we need to unbolt, leave the trans bolted to the motor, disconnect the trans mount, get the cross member unbolted and everything else like that. So all we got to do is just support the trans and then pull it out, because if we pull that dipstick tube and we don't try to drop the level in that trans, we're going to have a big mess. And we spent the last 10 minutes trying to find Precious One, which is our little magnetic shop light that turns on. And unfortunately, Jack, we had to play I Spy because Jack decided to magnetize it to the side of the rack and not know where it was.
It was hiding. It was just hiding. We found it.
Yeah, so we're going to get everything prepped and ready to pull down. Obviously the safe way, we don't want to do it, you know, I mean, we don't work in a junkyard where you can just drop everything, but we care about what we're building, what we're putting together, how we're fabbing it. You know, the customers rely on us to make sure it's one and done. We don't want any problems, no issues, but in the meantime, we're just having a blast, having fun, taking cars apart, making them fast. It's like, you know, just a repeat day. Just every day is a little bit something different, but the end result is we're building people's dream cars. So, and we get to have fun doing it.
Yeah, we sure are. All right, we're going to get started on that, set up the camera, do a little time lapse for you, and we'll talk to you when we got all that stuff done. Alright, we've got the trans jack set up here, almost ready to pull it. Bill's going to explain just a little bit about how we've got this set up and what we're going to do here.
Well, we're back to having fun again. We got a little farther than what we did before. Right now we've got it set up to where the trans jack is underneath the trans, lifting it up. So all the weight right now is sitting on the trans jack. We got to slide the cross member back. We've got two lower bolts holding the trans to the motor. But unfortunately, once we disconnect the trans from the back of the motor is going to want to come down. So you're going to want to support the bottom side of the motor so that way it doesn't drop. Especially in an application when you're doing just the transmission or something like that. Because we're doing a motor, we've already got the distributor and everything else taken off the top half of the motor. So if it does go back a little bit, it's not going to hit nothing and break it. So we got to get it disconnected and dropped a little bit so we can get to our trans lines, disconnect those. And then we will have a transmission sitting on the floor once we slide the cross member back.
Everything's loose in there. We're just going to pull these motor mount bolts. They're just in there loose. And then again, we don't want to wreck this mural at all, so we're just going to be real careful, take it really slow, as long as it needs. We should have plenty of room. And we're going to set the camera up again, and we'll slowly just pull this thing out of there. And then we'll be home free. Alright, so we got it back up in the air here. You can see the engine's out. Everything up here is disconnected. So now we're going to go ahead and tackle this rear axle here. Bill's going to explain what we're going to need to do to get this out. Take it away.
Alright, we're going to start by disconnecting the shocks, lower the suspension a little bit, get the coil springs and spacers out of it so that way we can get to the components that we need to. Then we're going to disconnect the brake lines up here, leave the hard line in the car. And then we're going to take the lower arm bolts loose and the upper arm bolts loose. But in order to keep this thing from falling or being too wonky, we're going to ratchet strap it around the differentials so that way we've got a support. And then once we get it to the point where we're ready to drop it, we'll lower it down onto jack stands. And that way it's stable when we go to pull it out. So that way if you're doing it by yourself, you don't have a jack big enough or heavy duty enough, you can actually do this at home or do it by yourself. The ratchet strap acts as a safety on either end, and then that way when you get it down on the ground, you can build a platform or whatever you got, or jack stands, and that will hold it so that way you can take the final bolts out so you don't have any issues.
All right. Alrighty, everyone. It's the end of day 2. This is 2 days, about 10 hours worth of work. Rear end's out, drive shaft is out, trans engine out, entire powertrain is out of this car. Like I said, 2 days, 12 hours. It's 10 hours. Saturday night, now it's Sunday morning. I think we're gonna call it here. Hoping to have the rear end in tonight, but I think we've got a good amount done today. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna come back on Tuesday. See if we can get that axle in.
Yeah,
and
Tuesday
then
we'll get the differential back in and start going back the other way with it.
All right. Catch you guys soon.